Hi, I'm Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and you're watching Uranium.
I'm standing here with Bruce from Iron Maiden. How are you doing, dude?
I'm very well, thanks.
How's the tour going so far with the other two bands? What's been going on?
Well, it's been going very well. I mean, we're doing States, obviously. We just played to 700,000 people in Europe in 28 days. Yeah.
You guys are one of the greatest metal bands in the world, and you've been around forever. You're coming out with your 13th album, Dance to Death. How do you keep things fresh and new, and how do you, at the same time, stay true to where you started from?
We ignore anything fashionable. We ignore the media, and we ignore what is current and trendy and, newsworthy. We just make records for ourselves, and we just follow our own groove, I mean, by and large, we ignore the outside world, unless it happened about 500 years ago, in which case it's a good topic for itself.
What can your younger fans expect from the show?
We are one of the best bands in the world, live. I mean, no question in my mind. It's pretty awesome to see the band in full flight.
Absolutely.
There's nothing else like it,
Absolutely.
And when people see that, or get a chance to see it, and they've never seen anything like it before, it blows people away. And
This tour is called Give Me Ed Till I'm Dead. What exactly do you mean by that?
It's a play on words about having your sucked. But then you knew that, didn't you?
No, not at all.
It never occurred to you?
No.
Oh, well, there you go. You knew something, you learn something new every day.
Absolutely, that wouldn't even cross my mind.
Welcome to MTV2 Headbangers Ball. I'm here with Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, Nico McBrain. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your time. Appreciate
Pleasure
it.
to be here, mate.
All right. New CD's coming out September 9th. Dance to Death. How's the tour going so far? 3 nights into it?
We're actually 31 nights into it because we did a whole bunch of stuff in Europe. This is great. Nice evening,
Very pleasant.
Lots of fans out there, so it's good.
Cool, you're ready to rock. Now, I saw you guys at Grasspop. My band Hatebreed played on the side stage, and you played one song during the set, new song, Wildest Dreams. Now it's also going to be the video?
Yeah.
Cool. Did you guys shoot that yet, or
Yeah.
when are we going to see it?
It's ready.
On Headbangers
It's
Ball?
been done.
Is it ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Without our presence.
Yeah, we're not in it.
We're actually not in it.
We're not in it.
What's
Which is
the
probably
concept?
good,
Cool.
What's the concept? The concept is we're not in it.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like that.
Cool. Well, right now we're going to get into a video, which is actually from the Rock in Rio Live CD and DVD.
And we're in that.
You are.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
great.
we were there.
Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills. Bruce and Nico from Iron Maiden are here with us. New CD comes out September 9th, Dance to Death. Now, you got your
September
first writing credit on this record. What took you so long?
Yeah, well, you'd have to ask the governor upstairs as to why it took me so long, but... Dear Father, what do you reckon?
There's a seagull up there, be careful. He's aiming right at you.
That's very true.
Big bullet on the top of the head.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
look. You should be up there, actually. Look. No, Look right above you, dear boy.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
757.
I thought that was a seagull. I need my eyes checked.
No, not
Very
at all.
high-flying
we'll have to
seagull.
talk
There's a
about
couple
your,
of them, actually.
Yeah.
Being a pilot
No,
later.
yeah.
as well.
No, don't talk about that. No, talk about music instead.
I had a riff couple of, last year early, and I play a bit of bass. I was doing some writing with a friend of mine, Danny Spitz, and this riff I had
From Anthrax?
was this
Cool.
was very, very Maidenish. So I wrote some lyrics, wrote a tune. Adrian got together with me, and we kind of put the bridge and chorus together.
Excellent.
As a team effort, and then Bruce took the lyrics. He said, we were in the pub one night after we finished the. He said, Nick, do you mind if I change the lyrics to the verses? I said, no, you do what you like. So
Yeah.
Bruce changed the lyrics on the verse, and we got New Frontier,
Cool.
which is a rocking, straight in your face, straight down the line
Awesome.
track. Yeah, it's good.
So for the new CD, obviously Eddie's going to appear on the cover somehow. Can you give us any insight as to
No.
what's it going to be like?
Absolutely
It's
none
a surprise.
whatsoever.
All right.
There's a surprise.
No.
All right. Well, we're going
And
to
you
get
can
to.
download that.
Oh yeah, you can.
You can download that comment.
Okay.
Yeah. You can put it all over the internet. No.
Well, we're going to get to a video. Great band from Sweden, Meshuggah, good friends of mine. This is Rational Gaze. You guys going to hang around? Please don't go. We got more videos to play, more to talk about.
There's nowhere for us to go.
Okay.
No, we won't run away.
We have no home.
Well, right now we're going to get into a video from Superjoint Ritual. This is Waiting for the Turning Point. One more video, and it's a classic from Iron Maiden, so stay tuned. We're back on Headbangers Ball. Bruce, do you fly to every show now? You got your own plane, a little Cessna or something, or you taking a bus?
No, we've actually got somebody else to do the flying on this bit. The last 2 tours, I was flying the band around. We had a little Cessna, little 421 Golden Eagles, twin engine thingy. So we were flying around on that.
Cool.
So yeah, they didn't mind.
No, it was
I
excellent.
heard you were flying for Icelandic Air for a little while. Sick of It All told me that they got on a plane and you were...
I was flying them. Yeah. I actually fly when I'm not working with Maiden. I have a full-time job as an airline pilot. I fly for a company called Astraeus in England, 737s.
Cool. So how did it become...
This is just his part-time job.
Yeah.
So was a hobby that turned into a career, pretty much? Or
Yeah. Well, I know everybody thinks I got, we've all got like loads and loads of money, but we haven't got quite enough money to buy our own big shiny jet. So I figured the only way anybody's going to let me fly $20 million of jet is if I get a job.
Cool.
So they lend it to me every day.
Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time. New CD, Dance of Death, September 9th. And we're going to do one more video, classic from yours, 1983.
Splendid idea, very good idea.
Flight of Icarus, Iron Maiden. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Yes, that's your first appearance on
TV,
video.
yes. And video, rather, yes.
The brain and the
You look
strawberry.
smashing, by the way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if you
Jam
really want
coming out
it's
the thing.
strawberry jam.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Everybody asks.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, well, we chose Wildest Dreams as the single, and we also chose it to be the song that we played on the Give Your Time Dead tour, just as like a taster, really, for the album.
I thought it was sort of a cross between sort of Number of the Beast and Mountain of the Hills, that kind of up, sort of a driving kind of riff. And I sort of put it together in a couple of hours and then played it to Steve, and he said that made a great single, and he wrote the words. And there we had it. It was came together pretty quickly.
It's an up-tempo, fairly optimistic, I'm going to live my life and do what I want to do. And you can too if you only just want to visualise your dreams, and off you go.
We had a few show reels for the Wildest Dreams of different directors and people that we were thinking of using. And the main guy that we ended up using, Howard, he's done a lot of animated stuff, and we thought, wow, great.
When we heard that he was going to do, he was proposing all animation, and he just came up with some sketches. Not necessarily of what the final animation would be, but of the kind of direction, the way it would make you feel if you looked at it. I mean, wow, that's great. One of the things is a picture of hell, but you're not quite sure whether or not it looks kind of cool. You think, wow, I'd really quite like to be in hell if that was going on. But then as you look around, you think, well, maybe I wouldn't have if that was going on as well.
It's one of the shorter, snappier songs on the album. There's some quite diverse and thematic songs on there which are quite epic oriented, but this particular one's short and snappy and straight to the point, and it's just pure rock and roll.
We've been playing it obviously since the beginning of the tour, and a lot of fans have been travelling around with us, so they're singing along, it's like they know this song and already, so it's a big chorus. And you just watching the audience, half of them know it. So
I think it's been downloaded on the internet already, hasn't it?
Yeah. Probably has.
Me and Bruce has invited everybody to record it every night. It doesn't take them long, does it? Really, I think that's a great indication of the strength of the song, because everybody's into it, and obviously playing new stuff at a show without people having heard the album cut or the single version of it. I think it's great. Yeah, it's going down great. And the more we're into the tour, the better it's going down.
Each album is like a diary of part of your life, and so you're very proud of everything we've done. It's been, you walk away from the studio thinking, feel very satisfied, very rewarded, from doing this album. But this one is more of it's just pushing out a little bit more. The guys are saying very progressive. And I think there's some musical avenues that we've gone down that we haven't been down before. And I think for a Maiden fan, if they listening to the Dance of Death album, I think they're going to be kind of very surprised, because it kind of leads you in with a couple of straight ahead kind of rock tracks, and then it kind of takes you deeper. And it's one of those albums you play more and more, and there'll be sort of subliminal almost, or the way it's been mixed, there's stuff in the background. So it's a kind of musical experience.
It's diverse, it's got some incredible thematic content to it. I think there's some great playing on it, and there's also some really stock rock and roll songs, short, sharp bangs to the brain, which I think every album needs that, but there's also some quite deeper songs too, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, Kevin is great to work with. I mean, it's the third album, I suppose, if you include the live thing. And I think the first time round working with him, everyone's kind of getting to know each other and the way they work and everything else. And we just, this time round it went much quicker, because there's not kind of the getting to know period.
Why don't you come in and have a quick listen, and then we'll do a couple more.
He instinctively knows what a musician wants to hear. When he mixes, he doesn't mess around. There's no, it took us 3 weeks to mix this track. If he can't mix it in a day, he said, well, there's obviously something seriously wrong here. If we can't get a mix of the song out in a day that sounds good and rocks, then obviously we're barking up the wrong tree.
We allow ourselves 6 weeks to write the album, and we don't write on the road. So it's all a bit of a nerve-wracking experience, really, because it's exciting, but it's worrying at the same time, because you never know what you're going to come up with. And obviously there's pressure, because you've got to come up with the goods and make sure you got a great album.
On in the room, so that took more time than it would have normally had we have worked them out in the rehearsal room before. So there was an interesting period on it. Even like New Frontier was done in the studio. We learnt it, a couple of other tunes, and then boom.
We wanted to record it live, and not many bands do that.
As we went through the recording process of it, more and more ideas started creeping in, some of which we hadn't even dealt with in rehearsals. More and more ideas started creeping in.
The studio definitely has a vibe, If those walls could talk, really. But it has an atmosphere, and it was just a good environment to work in, We need a big studio, because there's a lot of us now, 3 guitar players and 6 of us all together, so that was the right choice.
When we first saw the artwork, the artist actually tried since then to change a few things around and make them look nice. And it wasn't nice that we wanted. We wanted them to look odd and a bit strange, and because that's the sort of idea that the song conjures up. So we actually made him go back to the original idea. When you're writing a song, you're trying to create a mood or some imagery or something kind of in your mind when you're writing words and stuff like that. And that in turn creates imagery for like the album artwork and for videos and stage sets and everything.
I think in general that I've detected quite an appetite for a little bit of variance, a little bit of change in the Maiden sound. They're actually quite pleased when we come up with something that's not just different for the sake of being different, but that's also displays a bit of imagination and a bit of flair.
I think we're just playing better than ever. I think the band is sounding better than ever. We're all a bit older and wiser. Give each other a bit more space, and it's just great, you know. For me, it's it's better than it was the first time, you know.
The Dance of Death tour I'm really looking forward to. Thus far, we've got an extensive tour up till Christmas going through all of Europe. And then in January, February and March, we're basically going to be covering everywhere else.
We just get new young fans all the time. It's amazing. There's like 3 generations of fans out there. And some of the fans weren't even born when we did the first album. It's pretty scary. And it's great because, you know, the young ones at the front driving around and jumping about and going berserk, and then the audience gets older as it goes back. And but you know, it's incredible. We still keep getting new young fans. It's very healthy for the band. I suppose they probably pass their albums down to their younger brothers or even their kids or whatever. And long may it continue to happen, is what I say.
Passchendaele is going to be sort of a monumental track, and musically there's so much stuff going on in there, so you have to really like knuckle down and live, you know, to get all this song correct. It's going to be a big achievement.
It's also a challenge for us, I think, to go and play a lot on the material. You know, we could go out and play our best offset all the time, and that's the easy way out, but that's not the way we work.
There will actually be a big segment of the show when the body language and the music will carry the whole thing.
Whatever we take from this album, each song is so strong in its own right. As Dave said, it's very, you know, Passchendaele's very, very epic-y, like Dance of Death even. You know, that's going to be quite a challenge live. But any of the new stuff I think it's going to fit so well into the new stage show that we're going to do.
For Maiden, the two worlds of the album world and performing world have actually become separate. They used to depend upon one another. You couldn't go out and do some gigs if you didn't have an album. Well, that's manifest nonsense, and we just played to 700,000 people without a record. At the same time, if you put a record out, people expect a few gigs. But there's a variety of ways of promoting a record. I don't think Iron Maiden fans would be really happy if they got a new record, and if they get some gigs as well, then terrific. You know, maybe we'll just do 1 or 2 shows for really hardcore fans. Maybe we will decide to go out and go, you know what, let's incorporate a festival tour and do a new album on it as well.
We get asked the question of longevity many times, and I always say the same thing really, that you know, if you knew the secret of why we're still around, then we'd bottle it and sell it. And I really don't know. I think it's the sort of thing that you have to go and ask the fans as to why we're still popular and everything. But I like to think it's great songs and great live shows. We've toured live, you know, for many years now. We've done so many world tours, and when we do a world tour, we really do one. I mean, we do, you know, anything between sort of 7 and 12 months at a time, and we do lots of them. And I think that really these days it's got to be quality and not quantity. I think you get to a point where we have to be realistic that, you know, we can't physically go and do, you know, 6 nights a week everywhere for 9 months. At the end of the day, it's very tough, and I think that in the future we'll be cutting the tours down probably to, you know, 3 or 4 months rather than, you know, 9 months.
Short bursts of touring is much more enjoyable, and you find you can focus on it and give it 100%, you know, every night.
We want to keep it fresh. We want to keep it real and honest and alive, and the best way of doing that is to be real and honest with everybody who supports Iron Maiden.
I remember the first time I met Bruce Dickinson, which was on the stage of the Hammersmith Odeon in London in 2004, which is insane because Maiden is my all-time favorite band. Live After Death, my all-time favorite Maiden record, was recorded at the Hammersmith, so it was a huge moment for me, and I'll never forget it. We were on our first filming leg of Metal Headbangers' journey, and there I was, meeting my hero. You know, people ask me, what's your most memorable moment after 10 years of doing this? And I gotta say, it's this moment. Dickinson at the Hammersmith Odeon, 2004.
Let's start talking about the lyrical content of Iron Maiden. One thing we're interested in is kind of culturally where metal comes from. And Maiden contains a lot of lyrics that deal with themes of European history, literature, and these kinds of things. I'd like to know why, Bruce, your thoughts on why is it that heavy metal is a suitable arena to talk about these themes?
If heavy metal was a movie, it wouldn't be a romantic, a romantic love story. You know, it wouldn't have loads of dialogue in it. It would have lots of action, and lots of action and drama. It would be a war movie, or it would be an epic story of the struggle between good and evil, with plenty of Dungeons and Dragons thrown in. You know, it would be Troy, but better. Troy, the real story. So it lends itself to that, and on the other hand, it also lends itself to severely, sleazy hard rock, blues type, the AC/DC kind of thing. A Maiden comes, I suppose, really from a desire to do something different, because every time, if you're into metal, what you do is you start a band, and you immediately, if you want to start writing your own stuff, what you look at is what's out there at the moment, and you think, well, how can I be a bit different to that? I really like that band, but I also really like that band too. So you think about gluing a couple of styles together. It's just like every other kind of, whether it's painting or whatever it is. You like two or three things, and you think, well, how can I reconcile those? And in Maiden's case, you look at what Steve was into, and actually when I joined, what I was into as well. Steve was really into a lot of sort of prog bands, but really into the real energy and aggression of metal as well. So gluing Genesis and Jethro Tull, in terms of the lyrical conceits and stuff like that, onto really aggressive metal stuff seemed to make sense. Nobody else had really done that up till that point. A few Thin Lizzy were sort of on the edge of being a bit poetry-ish. Rush were pretty much there in terms of their sort of high concepts and things, but Rush were complex, but they weren't really in your face. And Maiden was a really in your face band, and it was just the gluing together, the fact that you could have an hour's song about poetry, an hour's song about poetry, and Maiden would do that, and people would go, whoa, and it's like, why can't you be heavy with that? So why can't you be heavy with Samuel Taylor Coleridge,
And obviously one of the most important symbols in the history of metal is arguably Eddie. And tell me about the significance of Eddie, or what does Eddie represent for Iron Maiden?
Well, what Eddie represents for us is probably different to what Eddie represents for the audience. I've only ever seen Eddie as a member of the band. So, I see him as a huge figure of entertainment. He's almost like an alter ego for the band. As a band, we're not, we don't do
most of those heavy metal type things. There's no suggestion that we are the same as necessarily our audience, even if the audience was all identical. But there's always a certain, I suppose, almost inverted snobbery on the part of, you know, the press and things like that. For example, if you know, if you turn up, well, back in the day anyway, you know, if your image is, you know, yeah, I'm a loud, crazy rocker, and suddenly you turn up and you've got a wife and 2 kids. It was like, gotcha, you're not really a loud and crazy rocker at all. You're a fake, gotcha. You know, your music's all crap, utterly worthless, your whole life written off because you had a wife and 2 kids. You know. And Eddie's great because we don't have to pretend at all. We don't have to play this game whereby we can't be who we are. We can be exactly who we are. I say, you know, people say, you know, oh, you're 46 years old. And yeah, I'm 46 years old. Yeah, no word of a lie. I've got 3 kids, live in the burbs, do a couple of jobs outside school, you know. What's your point? Because I don't have to, you know, go out with a raft of piercings and covered in head to foot in tattoos, not because I want to, but because I have to somehow maintain the image, you know. And Eddie does that. Eddie does that on our behalf. In fact, he does it so much better than we could ever do it, and he can do it for eternity, you know. When we're all so haggard and crap looking that we'd never dare put our pictures on an album cover because people would laugh, we could still be making decent music and just put Eddie on the front.